Back with Bobby and JJ Radio. Actually, Bobby's gone, so it's got a lot nicer in here. We have Mr. Daniel Pedroza. He's with Keller Realty City View. This gentleman, let me just take some time. #1 Latino real estate broker in 2016, top 10 in 2015. He sold in one given year over 118 homes for $31.7 million in production. He's a juggernaut. I want to say thank you for finally hanging out with us today, my man. So let's talk about real estate. How did you get into this crazy game? Why did you get into this crazy game? And why are you still in it, man?
Oh, Bobby, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
To be honest, it just fell on me. I actually lived in Austin for 18 years.
Sorry about that.
It was actually a lot of fun.
Just kidding.
But, in life, we all change. I
Sure.
mean, we all kind of follow some reason, some direction that we don't know what we're doing. So I actually would visit a friend here in San Antonio who was a real estate agent.
Sure.
And during the weekends, we would go out and hang out, and I would go with him. He would show me what he would do as a real estate agent. He would go visit builders, meet with his clients and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun, but I said, man, that's not for me. Everything you do is, it's sales and all this stuff. He's like, hey,
Right.
if you want to make money, you have to sell things.
Right.
And it kind of made me think a little bit and say, well, shoot, it's not about sales. It's about educating and providing service.
Definitely.
So when I moved here, I bought my house randomly, literally. I came for a weekend. We celebrated my birthday.
You're one of those.
Yeah, we
Impulse.
celebrated my birthday, and pretty much I just fell into it. And he said, hey, what do you think about moving to San Antonio? Well, I live in the Valley. I mean, Austin.
Napa or Sonoma?
No, it's actually Rio Grande Valley.
Rio Grande, you got it.
So between the Valley and Austin, there's a little town called San Antonio that falls in between,
Yeah.
where you're not too close to your family.
It's
but
like the Mecca.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Halloween was coming by, and for some reason the wind blew the right direction, and he said, hey, let me show you some houses. And I said, all right. So he takes me to DR.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing I know, I'm writing a contract. Next thing you know, I'm closing October 31st. And I'm thinking, like, what just happened?
Sure.
So
I want to meet this agent.
Yeah, he was real good. He literally sold me a house. And
Yeah.
when I closed on October 31st, I didn't leave Austin till March.
Wow.
I was having trouble cutting the cord between Austin life and San Antonio life. I would come here, hang out, have a lot of fun, but it wasn't for me.
Right.
So
what year was that?
This was in 2010.
So Halloween 2010.
Halloween 2010. Yes,
Gotcha.
I closed on my house in Halloween 2009. I didn't actually move in
Till 2010.
2010.
Gotcha.
So in March, I got my real estate license. And when I got my real estate license, I couldn't do real estate in Austin, in San Antonio, because it's two different cities. At the same time, I didn't want to do Austin real estate.
Right.
So just because I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Right.
So at the time, I moved to San Antonio.
Sure.
And I started meeting with builders. I wanted to know what the whole real estate part. I mean, you get a license, you do everything else, but you really don't know what it's about.
Sure.
You see these shows and everybody's selling.
Let's talk about that. I think one thing is like they see $1 million real estate, LA, New York. I think they're coming up with San Diego now. How different is the real estate game compared to that?
It's very different. A lot of the questions my buyers and sellers ask me is like, hey, do you really just do what they do in New York and LA? I said, well, San Antonio's a different market. So
Definitely.
we can't really compare a $1 million house to a $260,000 average house.
Sure.
He's like, but you guys make all that money. I go, but it takes us time. We don't just sell one house. We sell a lot of houses. He's like, so do you pick me up on a car, a limo, and take me out? And I said, well, it just depends on your price point.
Yeah,
I go,
for
I would
sure.
love to pick you up on a limo. It's just what's your budget and what are you looking for? We try to treat everybody as they're buying the $1 million house, even if they're buying a $100,000 house
For sure.
or a $1 million house.
Right.
So we try to cater everybody to make it feel as an experience. But yeah, a lot of the questions they ask us is San Antonio like $1 million listing New York and LA? And I said, I wish it was, but it's not. We live in a different market.
But you were in Austin 2008 and 9, right? And 7. And I know, so you've seen this change in San Antonio. I always tell people that we feel right now, especially the downtown, east side area, we feel like Austin, like in 2008 or 9.
Actually, it does.
Like,
All
remember
that
SoCo, for instance?
Yes. Oh, that was one of the good bars.
Yeah. But like everything South Congress and Austin, that was where I would like speed through that area because it was so, I don't want to say, it was just a harsh area of town. And now if you go to South Congress in Austin, it's one of the coolest areas of town.
It is.
And I feel like that's happening, or what do you feel? Because you have a unique perspective. You were leaving that part of Austin at the time. Now you're in San Antonio. Do you feel that resemblance a little bit?
Actually do. The east side of San Antonio is actually growing so much that all these developments and all these new industries coming in there. It's really changing downtown San Antonio to move to the east side for some reason.
Sure.
And I've noticed a lot of the growth, a lot of developers, a lot of everything, all the growth going on the east side of San Antonio is really reminding me of Austin.
Sure.
And I told my wife, moving here and getting away from one thing and then seeing the city develop to the same thing. It's amazing.
Right.
It's so much growth and possibilities for a lot of investors, a lot of buyers,
sure.
a lot of new age kids too,
sure.
that want to have that lifestyle of being close to downtown but not living the downtown life.
And I think obviously we're little brothers to Dallas, Houston, and Austin because we've never had a tremendous amount of population that work downtown. You know, downtown has always been Riverwalks and now Bourbon, you know, that kind of fun life. It's not like Austin where almost, you know, I think 70% of all the businesses are near or around downtown. So we've never had that growth, and now it's finally coming. Well, I think you brought it, bro, so it's probably your fault.
Yes, it's really changing, and it's really the growth in that area that's really making the city of San Antonio
sure.
develop to the next direction that it's going to go to.
So, Dan, you're one of the biggest agents in town. Everyone wants to know, are all real estate agents the same?
Not all real estate agents are the same.
Tell me why.
We know that because it really comes down to education.
Sure.
We all know that agents in San Antonio, we all have to help somebody buy a house or sell a house. It's just the approach that we take. And you know, JJ, teaching the one thing. You teach us a lot of different things that
sure.
actually help us manage our time to one direction.
Right.
So we take that with buyers and sellers and kind of have a game plan. When we meet with them, we ask them what is their goals, what is the direction they want to do, where do they see themselves in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Because you know nowadays people buy a house and want to sell 1 year later,
right? Or
they want to live in a house for 10 years, or this is their final home. Mm-hmm. So a lot of agents take different approaches, and the good thing about every agent is it's just you pick the one that you're a fit for.
Right.
We're not all the same, so you got to find the one you're going to work with great.
Sure.
But also you want to find the one that you're going to have a relationship with.
Right. That's going to fit. You're the match of customer service. Or
exactly.
Whatever. Well, for some education or figuring out, you know, the next move of San Antonio, please contact Mr. Daniel Pedroza. You can call or text him at 210-247-8188. Again, that's 247-8188. Or check out his website at www.getmedaniel.com.